Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to this Care Managers Inner Circle. Sorry, that's my dog howling at the adverts there. Good to see you this evening. This is an extraordinary broadcast tonight just to give you an update on the changes in the latest legislation regarding vaccinations. I can't believe that was my dog. Anyway, it's going to look great on the playback. So welcome to this Care Managers Inner Circle. This is really just for an update on the coronavirus vaccination of people working or deployed in care homes. And this is the operational guidance as at issued this evening and this afternoon, the 4th of August. This supersedes the guidance, which was the 19th of July. That was previous guidance, which very much focused on Regulation 12, the Health and Social Care Act under safety. So I just want to go through some of the key dates for you as care managers out there. So the 22nd of July was the start of the grace period. This was a 14-week grace period, which to allow your staff the opportunity to get vaccinated. The 16th of September is the end of that period, where it is the last opportunity to get the first vaccination to allow then sufficient time for the second vaccination. And then the 11th of November is where the legislation kicks in, and that is the date of enforcement for all those working in social care. I must reiterate at this stage, there's no judgment on my behalf. I have my own view on this. That is not tonight. It's just really me just regurgitating and giving you an update on the current guidance. So this guidance is also not just for people who work in care, but also those who will enter as professionals into the care environments, the care home environments. So that is tradespersons, professionals, hairdressers, activities coordinators, entertainers, etc. It will also involve volunteers as well, who might be working alongside and volunteering for you. There's an excellent page of current legislation. If you want a summary table on page 9 of the current guidance, and for those in the Care Managers Inner Circle, I posted up the post this afternoon. So this is persons entering the care home must provide their vaccination status to you to prove from the 11th of November that they have 2 vaccinations and they're fully vaccinated. And also, or if that is not the case, they must provide proof of exemption, and I'll go through that shortly. So those people who are exempt, this is pretty important. So emergency services, probably not the time to ask Mr. Fireman to stop and show his exemption or indeed his proof of vaccination. This also includes social workers who are being called on in emergency safeguarding of one of your residents. Emergency maintenance persons such as gas engineers, flood electricians, lift engineers, etc. also do not have to stop and provide exemption or status for that, but a log does have to be held and presented by and recorded by the care home. Visitors, so these people, so visitors are also exempt. That can people accompanying someone into your care home to give them reassurance, particularly at the first time of admission, but also visitors, relatives, etc. are also exempt from this. So we can't stop our lovely daughters and sons coming in just to look on mum and dad, etc. Someone on end of life, again, visitors, that's they're exempt, and anyone under the age of 18. Also, it applies for any courier or postal workers who might be carrying parcels into your premises. They can still do that. They don't have to drop them at the door and start fiddling around trying to get a letter from their GP. Also, the boosters are also exempt. So this isn't having to prove that you have a booster should it come in the sort of November, December time. But this is just for the 2 mandatory vaccinations to get full vaccination as at now. Students, so the nursing students, etc., or social work students, those on student placements, will also have to show proof of their vaccination status, and this is their students over the age of 18. Volunteers likewise. Also, for those people coming in for a job interview, must also show their status as well before the interview, in order to not to have any sort of delay. Providing the status is through three ways of doing that. It can be through the NHS app, it can be through the NHS website, that you follow a link and put the person's name in, and it'll show their status. But also the NHS COVID passport letter. But this does take 5 days to get from the GP. So again, you've just got to plan for that. If someone was coming in saying, well, I'll just bring my letter, which I'll get from the internet the night before, it won't happen. You need 5 days a lead in. So exemptions, there are a range of exemptions that may be granted. These are featured in the Green Book on immunisation that is yet to be issued. And clinicians are also going to receive some up-to-date guidance on this. So again, this is fast moving, but there will be a list of exemptions. But a person will have to present a letter, a clinical letter from their local GP. Risk assessments must also be implemented for those staff who are legitimately and legally exempt. So it's not just sufficient to put a risk assessment in place in order to deal with people who aren't exempt and just don't want to have the vaccination. You only have to show your exemption once, and so it's assumed that all care homes have the ability through electronic means to be able to keep a register of those who are exempt, such as tradespersons and members of staff, so you don't have to keep doing it every single time you turn up. But so what does CQC request and what are they seeking? I'll put on the website tonight a list of from the supporting statement from CQC, but basically they want to see that you've got the systems in place, that you have up-to-date lists of your vaccinated staff, that you have the means of recording and checking status, and also you have a good system and audit in place. So they need the assurance, not reassurance, they need the assurance that you have that in place. On the HR side, I just want to go through this. So exemptions, there will be clinically approved medical exemption, which will be available from the GP. They will be issued for those people who are legitimately exempt, and also be covered in the Green Book on immunisation. Dismissal, this is where it sort of gets certainly interesting for us as care managers and care providers. So it says here that the regulations may provide a fair reason for dismissal if a member staff is not vaccinated nor exempt. So it talks about that they may have fair reason for dismissal. There is some excellent advice, I've got to say, on page 40 of the guidance, and it goes into quite some detail about what must be in place. And so an employee may be dismissed if there is a potential fair reason for dismissal, if that reason is sufficient to justify dismissal. And the final thing is, and this is the important one as well, is the employer has followed fair procedure in accordance with ACAS. And again, I refer you to page 45. It goes into quite some detail, and I think it is quite excellent. So exemptions, there could be an exemption to this, which is that you have the ability to redeploy member staff away from this potentially the care environment, maybe into administration, something like that. Again, don't quote me on that. I'm just trying to surmise a scenario. It could be Gardner. It could be in a scenario where they could be justifiably redeployed. Again, further guidance will come out on that. There's also a supporting CQC statement, which has really reiterated the main legislation and guidance which was issued today. That pretty much goes through it. You know, they're looking for assurances. Have you got systems in place? Have you got good record keeping, etc.? Folks, short and sharp tonight. That really was it. I've posted the links onto the website. Get on those, have a little rummage through. But I just wanted to give you an up-to-date snapshot of that. It undoubtedly is going to be challenging times for us all, particularly managing staff. And I think that the key to this, before we start overthinking it and over worrying about it, is we've just got to understand that we just got to treat staff fairly. You've got to make sure they've got the information, be not judgmental, make sure that the communication, there's mass communication out to them, that you encourage and support members of staff who might have understandable massive anxieties over this, and that you do not ride roughshod over when it comes to HR law and legislation and fairness. You've got to go the extra mile to make sure that you have been absolutely fair. We don't want anyone going, at a time at the moment when we need all the staff we can possibly get our hands on. this is, I don't want to be losing good staff. And therefore, we've got to make sure that we're keeping up to date with the legislation, and that we are doing things correctly, by the book, and fairly. We've got some beautiful members of staff who we've got to support at this time. All right, folks, that was it. Oh, good to see you. So there's Roz. Let me just say, so apparently, so if this is from Roz, apparently there won't be a wide range of exemptions. Many anaphylactic shock. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Also, the one which is affecting us at the moment in terms of Birkdale Park is obviously ladies who are pregnant. That's been a great anxiety, understandably, for pregnant ladies, although there is plenty of guidance at the moment to give them reassurance. That's another Facebook user. We've had most of our staff done on site, yet still need to get evidence. Yet I can understand that, but I'm sure, for this person, there will be lots of people though who are new members of staff that you didn't get them vaccinated on site, and therefore, and of course, all of those other people, the tradespeople, they're the ones who you've got to seek assurance for and be able to. And that's it, folks. Look, lovely to see you all. Hope that helps. Keep doing what you're doing, and take care.